Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Behind the Screen with RealmSmith. I am your host, Jason Azevedo, and today I have the wonderful, talented, I've got all kinds of describing words for you. Nora Ibrahim is joining us today. How
so
are
many
ya?
kind adjectives.
How are you today?
I'm great. I'm a little concerned about this creepy music in the back. I feel like you're about to do something very terrible to me.
Yeah, like all of a sudden hit the initiative lights.
Yeah, I feel like I'm about to roll for initiative. I'm like, wait.
No, there is
Hang
no...
on.
There is
That
no
wasn't
fear.
part of the deal.
There is no fear of that tonight. Maybe. You never know. D&D can just burst forth at any time, really.
You know...
in these circumstances, in these situations. First off, just want to say thank you for joining us. Super excited to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
And I've been wanting to get you on for a little while, but just we never got around to it. And by that I mean I was so busy I forgot to ask you every week, and finally asked you on stream last night, and here you are.
You know, I secretly, every time you would announce it at the end of like games, I would be like, oh, and I don't know who we're gonna have tomorrow. I'd be like, cough.
That's good.
But I didn't want to say anything.
Yeah,
so
great.
Yesterday I was like, oh, who, me? Sure.
That's good.
I'd love to. Let me see what I have planned tomorrow. Nothing? Cool.
That's great. So first off, let me say that we can't talk about it, but what I'm going to say is that there are some really exciting things that we are working on right now, which I'm super excited about. But we can't talk about it. But today was a very productive day, and
Yes,
we
it
probably
was.
have some things to talk about in the near future. So for all of you out there that don't know what I'm talking about, sorry. And I apologize for not being able to share, but there are some really great things brewing for the RealmSmith team, and we are super pumped about it. And it's going to be a blast. So what we're going to do, this is super natural. There aren't really any announcements. All I have to say is tonight, thank you everyone for watching the premiere that is still running. It ran late because the stream interrupted last night, so we had to stitch it together, and then there were processing issues and blah, 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 blah. Anyways, bottom line is some people enjoyed it on YouTube tonight. A lot of people enjoyed it last night on Twitch. That is episode 5 of Into the Mist season 2, which was amazing last night. Really good. You guys are incredible, and that whole interaction with you guys in the Abbot was amazing. What I will say off the top, I do have to give a bit of a disclaimer to the folks at home. This is a bit spoilerific. There will be spoilers for Into the Mist past seasons and things that have happened. So if you haven't watched last night's episode and we're about to say something, I'll hopefully give you a spoiler warning before we do, and then you can just do this until we're done with that. I won't give spoilers for the future, but I might give some insight into direction that we're going and so on. But first, I'd like to kind of chat with Nora about where you came from, what you've done, a bit about your past, all that fun stuff. I've been watching a lot. Let me just clarify for a second. I've been watching Behind the Sheets actually quite a bit. I've been catching up on it on the Critical Role kind of interview show that they do. And they have all their characters on it, or all their players, and they go really into deep dives into people's lives and all that stuff. I didn't even prepare you for this at all. But they talk to all the players. They talk to Chris Perkins. They talk to Logic. They did a Logic episode, and so I'm putting on my Brian W. Foster hat tonight a little bit. But this is the opportunity for. I've had a bunch of people on already, and this is the opportunity to kind of get a bit of a deep dive and talk to kind of players behind the scenes. Or behind the screen, as it were.
I know. Listen, my green screen is down.
I know, right?
I've got the tea ready to spill. We're here.
Yeah,
we're all gonna answer some questions.
I've got my Soda Stream, not a sponsor yet. This is the mango orange one. It's so good.
Ooh.
I don't even have like on-brand glassware. I'm just using a glass from my cupboard.
Listen, during the pandemic and stay at home, the way that I've handled my insanity is that I've turned into an old British lady. And so I've been obsessed with British tea sets, and I bought I went a little overboard.
I love it.
With it, but that's been how it's been manifesting for me.
I like it a lot.
My pandemic insanity.
It's great. It's so great. All right, so a couple things. We'll start off. We'll again talk about kind of your experiences and what brought you to D&D and all that kind of fun stuff, and then we'll take questions from the folks at home. And so, if you have questions for Nora, we are only taking questions for Nora, or frankly, kind of anything that kind of involves her in RealmSmith. So we'll stay away from full RealmSmith questions tonight. There are a couple here that came last night that I may jump into, but for the most part, let's keep the questions Esmeralda, Nora, Diarco related would be great. And we'll jump into that. So you can start entering those if you want to enter it as the mods are telling you to do. You put question in capital letters in the chat, and they will add them here for that. There is one announcement that I need to make before we move on, and it's a sad one, and that is that David Shaheen, who plays Roan, will not be joining us the rest of the season. He has decided to pursue other things, and life sometimes gets in the way and all that kind of stuff, so we just want to wish him the best. It was great to have Roan and all of that wonderfulness in and up to this point. But unfortunately, we've lost him, and he is still healthy and well, and everything's great. But he will not be on stream anymore, which is sad for us here at RealmSmith. But we do wish him all the best in his future endeavors. All right, so Nora, tell me when your birthday was and what your childhood was like. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay. I'm a Pisces.
Let's start with, what were your experiences? Now, I know you're Palestinian, correct?
Yes.
And so if you could talk a bit about that, what was that like growing up? Where were you born? That sort of thing. Growing up, what was that like for you?
Oh, okay. Well, I was born in New Jersey.
Yeah, I figured.
But my family, I never lived there. My parents lived in New York, and I lived there until I was a sophomore in high school. But it was pretty much growing up in a town that was I don't know, I guess it wasn't I guess in New York it was, it was mostly Christian, or you were Catholic or Jewish. And there weren't a lot, especially in the town that I grew up in.
Yep.
I think the only other Arabs were my cousins that I was also at school with.
Yep.
So it was pretty normal up until it got to about Christmas time.
Right.
And kids were like, "Oh, I got this," and I'm like, "Oh, well, I don't really celebrate it." And they'd be like, "That's weird. Why?" And it wasn't as I guess diversity hadn't progressed as far as it has, even though it still needs a lot of work right now. But it was back even further.
Yeah.
So I felt, I guess the only time I ever felt different, I guess, was around holidays, because it was like, oh, well, I don't celebrate any of those things. And also I guess when teachers did roll call and nobody could pronounce my name correctly. Yeah. And that was always like, well, why is that? Yeah. Where are you from?
Yeah.
And then, but then it got a little worse when I moved to California. My whole family moved to California when I was in high school. Yeah. And it was a super, super white Christian town.
Yeah.
And I remember the first week, somebody was shouting Bible verses at me, and I'm like, why are you doing this? But I guess as I grew older, things like that didn't seem to affect me as much. But I don't know, I still feel like people don't fully, the media and Hollywood doesn't portray Arabs in a very kind light yet.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's important for, especially like Arab gamers and anybody who's coming into this field, to just kind of know that there's other gamers out there. It's, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I hear you.
There's challenges, but I guess I can, for the most part, I've had like positive experiences with like little pockets of like, oh, where are you from?
Yeah.
And that's weird, and I don't understand you.
Yeah. And so you're first generation American?
Yeah, first generation.
Both parents born Palestinian?
Yeah, both my parents are Palestinian. My mom was in like one of 9 siblings, and she was of the younger ones. So she was actually born in Jordan.
Yeah.
And that's where my mom's side of the family was mostly presiding. But yeah.
Right on.
So,
right on.
Yeah.
Cool.
My dad came here when he was like 13.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. When did you start gaming? Like, when did kind of gaming become a thing for you?
So I have only gotten into TTRPGs in the past, like since a few years ago, and that wasn't because I wasn't interested. It's because I didn't have anybody to play with, or I didn't know anybody who knew the game that I could participate in.
Yeah.
I grew up playing a lot of board games though.
Yeah.
With my cousins. I had like a big extended family, and we spent a lot of the weekends together, and that has always been like a staple in my childhood, is board games. And
what were the favorites?
Oh God. We played a lot of let's see, Life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Monopoly. For some, I don't know why, it was a weird toxic cycle of like, we knew this would make us angry by the end of the game. Why are we playing it still?
Yeah.
But we played Monopoly.
Yeah.
Like Chutes and Ladders and Candyland and all the younger ones too. Connect 4. Hungry Hippos.
Yeah, all the ones.
Everything. If you name it, we played it.
Yeah, right on. And then when did it start to kind of evolve into kind of deeper role-playing sort of scenarios for you?
Well, that's when after I moved to Los Angeles, and I met Jason Carl, and I met Satine, and I just was just starting to meet people like within the community, especially the ones that live out in LA. And I really wanted to play. And so Jason Carl was my first DM, like campaign DM ever. And he ran Curse of Strahd for me.
We have come full
this
circle.
is such a nice, full circle.
Yeah.
That after all this has happened, and kind of like everything kind of took off, and with streaming and con appearances and stuff, that this is now what I'm doing with you, which I love this show so much.
Yeah.
That it's just such a joy to like come back to it.
Yeah, that's crazy, right? How things tend to kind of happen that way. You and I met first time at Gary Con.
Yes.
And we played in a game together, Dungeon Mastered by Stefan, with Luke Gygax and David Baxter and Satine.
Yes.
And
I remember you were fully dressed. You came like in armor and like a cape, and I was not.
That was phase 1 of Jason streaming. Phase 2 isn't quite as dramatic.
I totally appreciate it. Yeah. I love the cosplay. I just was not prepared for any of that. I didn't pack anything.
Yeah, you were wearing a Gary Con shirt, I think. I remember.
I was, I was wearing a Gary Con, like the official.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. And we played there. We had a blast, and then we kind of sat with Matt Mercer for like 4 hours. The first time I had ever met him.
Yeah. That was the first time you met him?
That was the first time I met him.
He's so sweet.
And we talked about karaoke and life.
I know.
And then the rest is kind of history. Then you and I collaborated on some stuff, and then you played on some stuff, and now here we are kind of, and you're part of the RealmSmith family. What other things have you been involved in other than the RealmSmith stuff that everybody's kind of really familiar with? Because for us, you've played in Tides, you played in Cyberpunk, and you played in Into the Mist.
Yeah. So I'm part of the mobile app game Ingress.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if anybody who's listening plays it, but it's a mobile app game that's made by the same people who created Pokemon Go. So it's like a geolocation based, and so much lore. That is the most lore I've ever seen. Like in a back, it was like I was handed like a manuscript like that freaking thick, like being like, "Here we go. This is what's been happening so far. Catch up."
Oh wow.
They were joking. They didn't actually expect me to, but it was a lot to jump into.
Yeah.
So I had started that early on. The first, the first stream I was on was for Maze Arcana, and I played a Warforged on Inkwell Society.
Right.
And that was with B. Dave, Sig Neutron. It's a great cast that Satine and Rudy had produced. That was my very first experience. That was like kind of around the same time that I had like started playing D&D. Like it all kind of happened at once.
Yeah.
And from then went on to be a part of LA by Night, which I'm still a part of. I think they're going into their 5th season. We did our 4th season earlier this year, going into our 5th, but I have no announcements on that. Yeah. But very, very cool to play a character that was originally based on me.
Yeah.
That B. Dave had like wrote into his character, and then I was originally an NPC that Jason was playing that was based on me, and then Jason's like, "Why don't you come on and play yourself?"
Oh, that's so cool.
And that's been so much fun. Let me see. And then I think doing all the Gary Con stuff, I did a lot of con appearances last year. Around that, I did Hawaii Con and Apple Con, Gary Con. I know I'm probably forgetting some, but and then I think into this year, those are still, I think LA by Night still continuing. Ingress still, I think I'm still with them at this point. Haven't gotten any weird updates post pandemic from them. Right. Still under contract. I just don't know what they're doing. But then after Gary Con, I think was when this year, with all the Into the Mist stuff, when you took over and kind of produced everything, when everything kind of was in chaos, was pretty amazing that you pulled it like so last minute. We're able to get everything together and in order and still create something that people would enjoy.
Yeah, if you saw behind
watching.
The scenes, you wouldn't be all that impressed. Because it was chaos. It was completely chaos.
That's the thing. Like it was complete chaos, but you did it. And I think and you did it in like such a short amount of time and created like such memorable moments. Like we had I think that was that the first time that I came on to both Into the Mist.
Yeah.
And then
Cyberpunk.
And Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
And then also with that, we did the precursor to Tides of Wildmount, like all in that one weekend.
All in that one weekend, yeah. It was nuts.
All in that one weekend, which was kind of like, that kind of set the stage with everything that was going on this year.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's been great.
But oh my God, that Gary Con was just so many like epic moments in it, from Matt Mercer coming on to play Strahd for the first time, and the like moments with me and Matt Lillard role playing were like some of my best role playing experience, like personal favorite moments. Yeah. And then Cyberpunk was freaking amazing. Like I just couldn't believe, like I had to like pinching myself the whole time, like I can't believe this is all happening.
Yeah, it's insanity, and again, like it feels like it's happened all so quickly. And it's been also wonderful for us here at RealmSmith to have you. And you've kind of, it's amazing because you've kind of shared those moments with us. You've kind of, some of our biggest moments you've been a part of as well. And it just it's heartwarming to have just close knit friends and family that we can trust And I mean, this community is a great one, and we've just been able to really, what's the word I'm looking for? Partner and become friends with people like Lillard and Mercer and yourself, and B Dave, and just these wonderful folks in the industry that are kind of salt of the earth type people. So we're just blessed and thankful to be able to do that. I do remember,
and great, all the viewers, like when I pop in and chat is always like super kind. And like even on Twitter, like everybody in the community, from the players to the guests to the viewers, have like all just been so sweet.
Yeah, our community's been pretty incredible, and they're, again, salt of the earth, kind of really sweet, awesome, supportive folks, and we couldn't do it without them. That's for sure. And then we had a really fun time singing karaoke.
We did
at D&D Live. Just kind of like a last minute kind of impromptu trip to the karaoke bar. And I think the web DMs were there. That was the first time I met B Dave, and Mei Lee, and Christina. I think Ariel was there and she was singing.
Yeah.
And who else was there?
Luke was there.
Luke was there. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a blast.
Yeah.
It was a blast. And we sang. What did we sing
fun
together? We sang Phantom.
We sang Phantom of the Opera. And that is no easy feat. That is a high note I don't normally hit in like IRL everyday life.
Yeah.
And everybody watching, Jason has a very nice voice.
Oh, stop.
I don't know if you guys know. Because I know that Joel does a lot of like the bard work on camera, but for those of you at home, Jason has a very nice voice.
Well, thank you. And one of our close friends said to us, he said something like, I am a huge fan of Phantom, and if you do this right, I'm yours for life, or something. And this was after many drinks, but
he meant it. And he meant it, and I did it, and I got the biggest hug afterwards. It was like, holy crap! So it was just a blast, and I just can't wait until we can get back to shows and cons and be able to do karaoke again, because I think Mercer owes us some karaoke time. Me and him have sang some very we've done karaoke nights a few times now, and it's along with some other D&D people, and it's always fun. Yeah,
because they're all a lot of that crowd. First of all, from LA in general, and then also theater nerds, right?
Total theater nerds. That was my background in life.
Yeah, and so it's just, man, that karaoke night was like,
it was epic.
It was like karaoke all stars. It was like everybody got up there, blew the room. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Anyways, it was great.
It was so much fun.
It was great. All right, we're gonna get into some questions. We're halfway through. Let me just bring those up here. All right. Writing Machine 123 asks, how did you get Esmeralda to cry? What's your big secret to doing that? I don't know. I'm assuming he means you, not me.
Right.
But how do you tap in to and many people have talked about it since. How do you tap into that emotion like that? And what makes you go there, I guess, is what the question I'm asking.
Okay. All right. That's a great question. I do have a theater background. I've been acting my whole life. That doesn't mean that anybody who's just starting to role play should back away from attempting to do it. You don't need to have years of experience. You just need to put yourself in that state. And I think it's a combination of really being in the moment, really listening to the people at the table.
Yeah.
It's a lot of people think that because you're having this big dramatic moment that in order to contribute, you really need to be a good listener.
Yeah.
And to really kind of lose yourself in that moment. You really need to feel as though everything at the table is actually happening to you. Yeah. It requires just vulnerability, I guess, being able to just kind of put those walls down and not be afraid to, ugly cry or, not be afraid to take yourself to a place where you feel judged by others.
Sure.
You know, just that vulnerability really helps, and that requires putting all those walls down.
Yep. Yeah, just being vulnerable and being kind of raw about it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm going to be careful how I ask this question, and in turn, I think we should be careful how we answer it. This is spoilery for Curse of Strahd. If my players are watching, stop. I don't even know if I should ask the question. I'm going to ask it, and then I'm going to decide if you should answer it. The question is, how suspicious is Esmeralda that Rictavio might be someone who she knows? And for those at home, just a peek behind the curtain, both Matt and Nora are aware of the greater story that involves their characters. So they don't necessarily know where we're going or what's going to happen in each session, but they are aware, because they're playing well-known NPCs that both of them have kind of researched in the past. They're kind of aware of some of that stuff.
I think I could answer this without giving spoilers.
Do it.
Given that, you know, Lillard and I have both loved this campaign and we're well aware of the campaign itself, and have played it before, I will say that honestly, at this point, Esmeralda isn't very suspicious at all. I don't think that there has been any inkling yet that would say otherwise.
Right. She seems like she's trusting him, kind of even more so than some of the other people in the party.
Yeah, and I think that kind of with our interaction with the last season,
yep,
leading up to everything that happened, I think. Is it okay if I talk about the charm?
Yep.
Okay, so being under having Rictavio dispel that charm spell that she was really, even though like I played it very goofy, inside I think she was feeling a lot of anguish because she knows it's not her.
Yeah.
And that everybody knows that, like, or maybe you don't know, but like when you're out of a charm spell, you're aware that you were charmed.
Yeah.
So that like frustration that came out after 24 hours, and then Rictavio finally takes her out of it, and she's aware that he takes her out of it, and then what she was under, I think also kind of built that trust. And so whether or not she has any inkling of who he may also be, I think at this point it doesn't really matter. There's nothing that gives that away yet. And that she is just trusting in and of himself.
Yeah. No, that makes total sense. Yeah, there's almost like an implicit trust there, which is interesting.
Because he kind of shows it in his action. He doesn't just say, hey, trust me.
Yeah, exactly. What was the other project Nora announced yesterday? That is from Redbeard in 84.
Oh, so I am also in a Call of Cthulhu stream called Carnaby Street Case Files. It's a once a month stream that it's on the initiative order. So if you go to twitch.tv/the initiative order and follow me on social media, we'll get updates. Our next game is going to be this Saturday at 6 p.m. Pacific.
Awesome.
It's so much fun. It's set in London in the 1920s, and it's just a riot. Like, I have so much fun playing that game. So if you want to check that out. What's that?
Where do they watch it?
On twitch.tv/the initiative order. They also, if you look on YouTube on the initiative order channel, you'll be able to catch up. We had 2 episodes before. Cynthia Marie and Satine Phoenix were on as special guests on our second stream.
Yeah.
This will be our third one this Saturday.
Cool. And maybe we'll try and host that then.
If you can
send me a reminder, then we can definitely host it on our channel. That's great. Sexus154 asks, Nora, have you prepared another character for Into the Mist in case Esmeralda role in the campaign ends at some point?
I have not, but now that you mention it, I might. I don't know. Now I wasn't worried before. Now I'm worried.
Yeah, that's interesting because we haven't Because
we haven't talked about what happens when NPCs die.
Yeah, we haven't. We haven't talked about that. It's possible, of course.
Anything's possible.
Anything's possible, and a little more of kind of a look behind the screen. I don't know if you guys can hear Bruno, but he's just gnawing on his paws here, and it's just he sounds like there's a creature in my room. So hopefully the mic's not picking that up. But Nora was supposed to come in for a couple episodes here and there, but Esmeralda kind of connected with the party so intrinsically that we just decided to continue to have her on. She did such an incredible job otherwise. But I mean, just from a narrative story perspective, they kind of knit together. So we said, you know what? Just you'll hang out until you don't, or until you're dead. So we'll figure that out.
Anytime, my general rule, Jason, is that if you ask me on, I'll always say yes.
Yeah.
So I was just kind of like, I don't know how long I'm going to be here, but I'll be here as long as you invite me.
Yeah, I appreciate that. We'd love to have you. Now, Dag Crystal asks, and this is a throwback to Tides of Wildmount.
Ooh.
And it was a pretty awesome moment in the whole thing, and actually set off one of the most kind of epic story moments of that campaign. The question is, what were you thinking when you threatened Three Earrings, the captain?
Oh man, that was an epic moment. And to be honest, I didn't know what was going to happen. I was like, I might be fine. He might never ask me to be on again after this.
Yeah.
But I remember you playing Three Earrings, saying, your thing about where are your loyalties, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I'm just going to double down and see what happens.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to see how he takes it.
Yeah.
See how she takes it.
Yeah.
So, I had no plan for this.
Yeah.
I had no idea what was going to happen.
Yeah.
But I kind of was trying to get Three Earrings. I'm like, all right, well, put your money where your mouth is. And that's why I set down my weapons. I'm like, you're going to kill me. Do it. Yeah. I dare you.
Yeah.
Kind of moment. I was just like, oh my God, I hope he doesn't kill me. Yeah. As I edged my weapon down onto the table. I was like, oh, I might have killed my character off.
Yeah. Well, so this is you're going to hear it for the first time here, because I don't think it'll kill the narrative too much, and I do trust you not to metagame if it comes up again. But just so you know, the big drama in the background that you haven't heard yet, and Crystal, thanks for asking this, because it wouldn't come out otherwise.
There was a whole thing where I didn't hear what you guys were talking about.
Yeah. So right after you left the thing, she said, you need to prove yourself, and I'll give you another chance. She called Snow in and told him not to let you come back from your mission to ensure that you stayed down there.
Oh man!
And so that whole thing was then everyone at home wondering oh my gosh, she just basically said yes, go do your thing, and then told Snow make sure she doesn't come back, which is why she wasn't happy when you came back with Snow afterwards.
That's so cold, Jason.
Well, it's the revelry. They're pirates. That's what they do. It was so good. It was good, but it all turned out obviously in the Oracle's favor. Oh, that's so fun. Anomalous Ziff, and actually that's Major Ziff, I think, as well. On Twitch, she's a new member of our Discord and a new Vistani, and we want to welcome. How did you choose your characters for Into the Mist and Tides of Wildmount? How much did you stick to change or change the NPCs? That's a good question. So you didn't really choose your characters for either. You did choose Diarkle.
I did choose Diarkle.
And you were the first to get back to me when I offered them in the prologue.
I did. I took first dibs.
Okay, so why did you choose Diarkle? Let's start there.
If I could be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
When you were listing the characters and it was like, this is first mate, this is blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I don't know if I could role play a seafarer. I don't know. I don't know starboard from port. I don't know any other. Those are literally the only two sea things I could talk about. So I was like, how do I role play a captain if I don't know my way around anything?
Yeah,
so I was like, who is not a crew member? Diarkle. Awesome. And I was like, Druid, cool, do that. Half orc, awesome. I'll take that one.
Great.
There was some challenges to it, though.
Yeah. And the community taught me, somebody in the community who used to be in the Navy said, port and left have the same amount of letters. And that's how you remember port from starboard.
Yeah, that's actually, I did hear that, but I only heard it till after that season ended. So did me no good.
Yeah.
Did me no good.
Yeah, it's not helpful anymore.
Yeah, but with even though with choosing Diarchal, I don't know how many people have read any of Wildmount yet. There is literally a sentence on Diarchal. It's like, Diarchal is a half-orc druid, soft-spoken, likes animals a little more than people, and that's literally it. And so my biggest challenge was like, soft-spoken. None of my characters are usually soft-spoken.
Yep.
Because I'm a little boisterous.
Yeah, and it came out. And Diarchal,
so I was just like, so that was my biggest challenge. I was like, how do I portray? And I think I did. I kind of stuck to her, and then like I was like, well, she can kind of like develop as a character and maybe not be so quiet afterwards. Yep. But that was my biggest
so good.
I guess challenge with that.
And then with Esmeralda, how much have you added to what is already there?
I try when I play NPCs that are canon, and especially who have like stats and like very specific backstory, I try to stay as true to that character as I possibly can, because I think especially for people who are like big fans of a certain campaign, and we've played it and we've read it and we're excited to see it. I think I owe it to those viewers to kind of stick to as much as I can to the and not veer away. The accent I added, obviously, as my interpretation of what maybe somebody from Barovia might sound like, but that's not necessarily the case. It's all up to your interpretation, obviously. Sure. One thing that I did make her a little more playful when she is under a charm spell.
Yeah.
So that was a very conscious decision on my part. I try to keep her very serious and kind of like to stick to the mission, because also as an NPC that comes on as a guest, I want to highlight whatever the players want to do. I just want to be there to kind of support their decisions and kind of elevate whatever it is that they're wanting to achieve in that moment. Yeah. But a conscious decision that I did make was to kind of make her a little more playful and kind of like off the wall when she is charmed.
Yeah, that's so good.
So I don't know if we'll see that again.
That whole thing was just so fun.
And you and Muskoka kind of matchmaker.
Playing off each other was hilarious.
Having her and Muskoka be, on one very straight mission to find him love. Yeah. It was very interesting.
It's so good. Jinxie1229 asks, I'm brand new to D&D. I'm going to be playing my first game in about 2 weeks. Nora, any advice for a new player?
Don't be afraid to have to stop and ask questions. Like, I think that's a big thing with people, especially if they're watching streamers or if they're watching people who have a lot of experience playing, and they think, oh, I can't do that. I'm not an actor. I'm not a voice actor. Or, oh, I can't do that. Like, they've played a lot. They're a streamer. Throw all of that away. And you never get good at something unless you really stop and take the time to learn it. And don't be afraid to kind of stop and ask questions. I play with new players all the time, including some of my housemates, and we have so much fun playing together. And it's never feel like you are taking away from somebody's fun or embarrassed to stop the DM and ask a question or to clarify something or to it's not like everything's a learning process. You don't and if you feel, because otherwise you're not going to have fun. Like you should really be okay with or know that it's okay to make mistakes.
Yeah, that's so great. Anomalous Zip says again, thank you, Nora, for repping Arabs so well in our little bubble of media. You are lovely and classy.
Thank you so much. I really just hope to see more, just a more positive representation in the future. And I think finding people who in different areas of entertainment and just kind of being supportive and finding those voices, I think will just change things for the better.
Question for Nora from XFit Kimmy. What were your top 3 memorable moments from Into the Mist, even past episode you were not in? That's tough. Top 3. Let's see if you can do it.
Top 3. I think just that the finale from season 1 was just huge.
Yeah.
Just having Matthew Lillard and Matthew Mercer, it's just mind blowing. Like, how am I here? And then the season premiere, also with Matt Mercer. That 30 minutes or so that it was just the one-on-one was something I never thought I would ever be able to do streaming ever. Like, Matt and I have been friends for a couple of years, but we've never streamed together. Never thought that I would have that kind of role play interaction, that kind of opportunity. So that was just mind blowing. And then I really think, just in general, the moments where me and Muskoka were still charmed, and we're just completely trying to derail everybody. And especially in oh my gosh, after we've discovered that about the pies, especially after that, and just kind of the chaos I think that episode in general, like the absolute moments of chaos where like everybody kind of had a different motive, was a beautiful moment.
Yeah, it was really great. Just all of that, all of the kind of, even the stuff in the Blue Water Inn afterwards when they were dumping out Falfer's bag, and like, it was just so good.
Especially that was one of the one that I was referring to. That was one of like my favorite. Just those moments where like it's pure role play, you're not in battle, and you really just are seeing everybody's true intentions and motivations play out. Is so much fun.
So much fun. So good. Was that 3 or was that 2?
The episode?
No, your top 3.
I think that was 3. Finale, 3. Premiere, and then the general chaos of that cool. Episode.
Kevin Manxman says your reaction to seeing, this is a comment, your reaction to seeing Matt for the first time on screen was epic. I'm assuming that is in the finale when he kind of popped up. And for all of you at home, the cast knew that Matt had to be in the Zoom call, so he literally waited through our whole, graciously waited through our whole session until he showed up.
Acting.
Acting. Yeah, he was there. But it was a moment. Like when he came on screen, our reactions were still real.
They were still valid because he does know how to make an entrance.
Yeah,
and we knew it was coming.
Yeah. And they knew he was there. I don't even know if they knew who he was playing.
That's right, because you know what, the other players didn't know.
Yeah, they didn't know. So that was those reactions were pretty real. But that is a look behind the curtain.
Yes.
Sakura163, who is a big member of our community, any info on your Jasper's Game Day stream? For my stream, and thank you everyone for supporting. I think Sakura was one of the ones that won a spot, I think.
Oh, really?
I think so.
Nice.
But thank you for that, guys. Like, I cannot believe how much we raised for my game for that stream. I don't have any info, though. I do need to get info to the folks there for that. But you're playing another game as well, right?
I'm playing one on the 30th. I'm playing in B Dave's game.
Right.
And I believe that's at 10 p.m. maybe. It's a late game.
Yeah.
But he's doing his B Dave thing where it's like level 20.
Big characters.
Yeah.
I don't know totally what I'm doing yet, but I got to figure that out. And I got to figure that out. I don't know what I'm doing yet, but we're working on it. So there will be more information to come because that is coming up soon. The Antipodian D20, our good friend from Australia, asks, question for Nora. If I send you some Australian tea for your tea set, can you please stop making us cry with your raw emotion as Esmeralda? I'm kidding about stopping the emotion, he says.
That's very sweet. Yeah, I think maybe that would be it's very kind of you.
Yes, very.
Yeah, maybe we could set up, we'll get back to you with details on that. But if you're serious about it, but also thank you for the compliment. That's very nice of you.
Prepper Jack, who was the one that donated the $1,300 last night for Extra
right.
Life, he asks, how much to donate? How much does he have to do they have to donate to get Esmeralda a stake launching crossbow prosthetic leg? So turn it into
like that movie.
Yeah.
What was it?
Dust
what was
Till
that?
Dawn? Was it in Dust Till Dawn?
No, it was in that one. Gosh, remember when they came out with the double? It was like Death Proof, and the other one. It was the other one that it was Rose McGowan, and she had that prosthetic leg.
That's right.
What was that called?
Ooh, that is going to be, folks, if we get to the $5,000.
Chat, what's it called?
Yeah, actually, chat will tell us what it's called.
Yeah, chat will tell us. But hey, I'm all for giving her any sort of advantage that you can.
That's awesome. A stake propelling or stake launching crossbow prosthetic leg. I think we do have Vistani who craft things in Barovia. I wonder if we can have one of the camps maybe craft you a stake launching prosthetic. That'd be amazing.
All right, Discord. I'm talking directly to you now. Let's make this happen.
Another question from Anomalous Zip. Has Nora ever DM'd? If yes or no, would she consider DMing?
I have been putting off DMing, which I should have done like a long time ago. I know I need to do it. I really want to do it. And I've been having to, like, my brothers and, their wives want me to like run games for them. There's two things that make me nervous about it. One is the like imposter syndrome of like, am I going to be good at, and now I'm responsible for other people having fun. Am I able to do that? And I think I just need to like shut up and do it and just get over it. The second thing that I'm apprehensive about is like, does this mean I'll never be a player again?
Well, from experience.
It's been the lament of like every DM is like, oh, I never get to play anymore because now I just have to run the games for you. I'm like, am I diving into, am I ready to just dive into? Yeah. I'm never going to be a player again. I'm just going to be running games for people. I do need to, hopefully sometime soon, just dive into it.
Yeah, absolutely. And both of those things are real. I've experienced both of those things. But I think when it comes to playing, I think that, you always have a place to play here at RealmSmith. So if you become a DM, and I would even say that your first DMing live stream should be here. So whenever you're ready to go.
Oh, I promise.
Yeah, 100%.
I promise that like if I do start and I do want to, you're who I come to first for both advice and
I appreciate that. I am horrible with rules. I'm so bad with rules, especially with spells and stuff, and everybody knows that. I'm very open about that. So, I think it's important, and that's a wonderful thing about D&D is that you can play it the way that you want to play it. And even as a DM, there's no right way to DM. It's whatever you're comfortable with and feed into kind of the things that you feel are kind of your strong suits, both skill and talent-wise, right?
Yeah. Well, thank you, Jason. But I did want to say, like, agree with you that, like, as far as rules go, do it enough to where, like, it makes sense for the game, obviously, but then also it kind of has to be catered to the specific group that you're playing with.
Yeah.
As well.
Absolutely, 100%. And we get a lot of comments about, oh, this rule was wrong or that rule was wrong, and in some cases I just go, we did our best, right? And you know, this is our kind of home game that we're sharing with the world, and I love getting that feedback and just that reminder that certain things are not right, but as long as we're having fun, that's what matters.
Yeah.
Anomalous Ziff again says, Neurological played the charm so well, and then broke all the hearts when it was finally broken. And actually, a rules correction on that. Matt does have, so his character, Rictavio, does have a spell that is supposed to get rid of it. And I can't remember what spell that was, but it wasn't Dispel Magic. He said Dispel Magic, but he had read something that was a different spell that had the same effect. So it still stands and it was still done the right way, but Dispel Magic does not take away charm. Just for those of you out there that were watching.
Yeah, wasn't it something that dispels a curse or dispels?
Yeah, it was like Dispel Curse or remove... it's something like that. It wasn't even Lesser Restoration, because a Lesser Restoration wouldn't do that. There was something else specifically that he has as part of his character.
Yeah.
Slimutha says, are there some characters that you find challenging to RP?
Is that a question for you?
Yes, that's a question for you. Yep.
Ones that are hard to RP. I kind of haven't. I think maybe Diarkle was the one that I kind of had the most in the beginning, trying to like get a foothold of who that character was, because usually I have when I create my own characters for home games or even for streams where I get a chance to create the character, I go in full backstory. I know their voice, their personalities. I kind of try to figure that all out. But when I come in and have to play a specific character as a guest, it's really the most challenging for me, because I'm just kind of coming in hot. Like, everybody's had their adventures, and I kind of have to catch up, figure out everything that's been going on with their campaign, figure out everything about the character. So those I find more challenging to be kind of entertaining and also supportive to the rest of the cast, because that's, as a guest, I feel like that's my mission, is to kind of, what can I do to make their game better and to aid them in whatever way in their mission. So that kind of gets very complicated when I'm trying to figure all those things out at once in a very short amount of time. But I think other than that, just coming on for a normal character, I think maybe Diarkle, because there was, even though it was a canon character, there was just so little written about her. So how do you bring that to life?
And you did a great job.
Yeah, thank you.
That movie is Planet Terror.
Yes.
Thank you, Deacon Stable.
Thank you.
With Rose McGowan. And then the last comment, the last question we'll field is again from Anomalous Ziff, and she says, will you play a Warforged and use your amazing robot voice the whole time, please? You're well known for that voice now.
Who was asking me this question?
It's Anomalous Zip.
Anomalous Zip. I would very much like to play a Warforged in a future game. I actually did play a Warforged in my first stream ever that I was in. Really? Wish I would have done the voice at that point, but didn't think of it. Which is good news, because that means if I do play one in the future, I'll get to do it.
Yeah, that's so good.
Yeah, I would love to do that. I think that would be super fun.
So awesome. Thank you so much for being on with us. I'm glad that we finally got you on. And we're excited to have you back again, of course, for episode 6 on Monday. And then on through. I think we have like 14 or 15 episodes of this season. So we're not even halfway through yet. And so much wonderfulness ahead. And so much fun to be had. It's going to be a blast. So thank you so much. For everyone that's watching, can you just kind of tell us where they can find you on all the socials and all of that fun stuff?
Oh, you can find me at Neurological on Twitter and on Instagram. I'm not on Facebook. I'm also Neurological on Twitch, but I don't have anything on there yet. But if you want to be friends, we can be friends. And that's the best place where you can find stuff that I'm working on, and I make announcements regularly.
Awesome. And the plan, I know the plan, you've now been added to the Discord, but you guys are off in Kresk now. So at some point in the future, you'll be dropping potentially into some of the Vistani camps to say hi. Is that right?
I might be dropping by in the Discord.
I love it. It's going to be fun. Thank you so much, Nora. Everyone, again, thank you for watching. We'll see you at Player's Table with Joel Ogier on Thursday. And then Nolzer's Marvelous Tutorials on Sunday night. And then, of course, after that, episode 6 on Monday. I'm going to just kill a little bit of time while I bring up the thing because I wasn't ready for it. But thank you, everyone, for watching.
Yes.
You guys have a wonderful night. Thank you, Nora.
And thank you, everyone.
Take care, guys.